Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Consolidate Financial Management in 2 weeks. I'm John, and joining me is Scott Russell, CFO at Achieve-erp. Welcome, Scott.
Welcome, John.
Today, we're here to talk a little bit about how organizations can eliminate conflicting numbers and general data discrepancies across sales, operations, and finance, and build an accurate single version of the truth all within a 2-week period. We'll keep the session focused and practical. We'll look to start by discussing financial management pain points that we see across the market and techniques that directly address them. And we'll spend time walking through Achieve's technology so you can see a solution in action firsthand. Implementation and the ROI the technology brings before rounding out with a Q&A at the conclusion. Please feel free to enter questions throughout the session in the chat box and we'll address them at the very end. And yes, we will be sharing the recording after the webinar. All right, Scott, let's start with the very common challenge faced by all departments, but especially finance teams, and that's the issue of disconnected data. What are the biggest challenges CFOs and finance managers are facing today?
The greatest pain is having multiple systems which are disconnected, so there's no one single source of truth. It often happens when sales have one figure, operations have another, and finance doesn't have any of them. Month end becomes a really challenging process, and you end up being a financial archaeologist, digging around trying to find all the different pieces of information and pull it together.
Sure, and can you walk through some examples of what that, I guess, looks like in real life?
Oh, in real life, you get examples like the last day of a month or a reporting quarter. Sales are happy they've met their targets, but when finance runs the numbers, they don't match up, because sales have logged deals in their CRM, but they haven't been invoiced. Operations have changed inventory adjustments, which weren't communicated. So the finance department often works off numbers which are out of date, and everyone's scrambling to try and reconcile and to find which numbers are actual real and which ones we can rely upon.
Yeah, and I imagine scenarios as organizations grow, deal volumes increase, cash volume increases, reconciliation becomes a lot more challenging. And I think it starts to move from just being an operational headache to a material risk for audits, financial reporting. If not done correctly, it can pretty quickly become a regulatory and compliance concern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So I guess in terms of the scenario now, what did we resolve using Achieve-erp for yourself?
Well, it means that data is in real time. The most important thing, and I found for reporting to management with confidence, is that we have one single underlying source of data. You know what I mean? And having a system where sales is entered, it automatically updates inventory, the AR, cash flow, and the P&L. So there's no manual adjustments. There's no asking if someone's transferred data. There's no duplication, and there's one set of numbers that everyone's working from. You know what I mean? So a real classic example is that if a deal closes at 2 p.m, in less than 30 seconds later, the whole finance system's updated. You know what I mean? Everything's reflected in your dashboards, inventory's adjusted, accounts receivables up to date, and the cash flow projections have been recalculated. So everything is instant, it's connected, and everyone can sing off the same hymn sheet.
Yeah, and I imagine that when it starts to come to end of month or end of quarter, and yeah, as the alarm bells start going off that we need to access this now, real-time availability, it really is critical. I guess with your use of the solution, what specific features is your team relying on most in Achieve?
Oh, accuracy is one of the most critical elements. We rely upon the general ledger, make sure that it's a basis of all accounting. You know what I mean? So, and then all the accounts payable, accounts receivables are all fully automated. So we know where we are from a cash position perspective. Sales, the budgeting tools are updated, and the consolidation of reports. It means that we can actually look at multiple locations in multiple currencies at any one time. You know what I mean? So we've got that flexibility to do a full consolidation across a very wide-ranging, spread-out business. You know what I mean? So the ability of the system is that from a CFO's perspective, you can actually look at the high level, but you can instantly drill down into different areas of the business and look at get right amongst the weeds as well to see where significant areas of concern or positive things that you can look at. So it gives you both the high level and the weeds view of the business.
Yeah, and I think that drill down capability, it really does sound critical, getting that sort of 30,000 foot view, as they say, and then still being able to drill down into transaction level almost is really important, particularly when looking at the particulars, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely, because numbers from high level, it can hide a number of different individual aspects, but when you can drill down, you can see unexpected anomalies, you know what I mean, that you didn't predict, or something might have slipped through the gate. So it gives you that ability to get to the source and find out why things happen, you know what I mean? So at that level.
And what's your favorite feature, I guess, across the board? It sort of sounds like the drill through capability is one of them. Are there any others?
Yeah, the dashboards are fantastic because you can give you that high level view, you know what I mean, and you know things are tracking well, but also that capability is to jump in and go down into the weeds, you know what I mean. It's like, as an accountant, you're really looking at those things, and you want to understand why things happen the way they do and why things move. So it's that capability from the 30,000 foot view down to the ground level is really exciting and great tool to have.
Sure. It sort of sounds like you're not using multiple spreadsheets anymore, spending your mornings hunting through different data, trying to connect different data sets.
Oh, exactly. Like having previously in different roles, trying to work from 4 or 5 different systems and spreadsheets and different versions, which is the latest one up to date. It's a frightening scenario to be able to report, you know, in confidence to management, you know what I mean, because you don't quite know what's real and what's not real. And the ability of the system to actually do this in real time, it reduces the reporting process, because management wants to know what happened last month, you know what I mean, and they want to know that quicker or sooner rather than later, you know what I mean. It's like what might have taken 7 days to do, you can finish off in a day or two, you know what I mean? So they can actually action new outcomes and set the direction for the business for the next month and adjust those problems which have arisen. So
exactly. And look, I think what we see now is every major decision a leadership team makes is a financial one at its core, or has financial consequences or impacts. And I think when finance has trustworthy real-time data, they're not just supporting decisions, they're actively driving them. Scott, thank you for that breakdown. Sorry, do you have something to add there?
Yeah, I'll just say that real numbers are important, you know what I mean, from the business perspective, because it takes you away from having to spend and waste a lot of time going back and validating numbers. You know, from a previous life as an auditor, it's a process. You've got to know that your numbers are correct, and having the trust in the system means you can go away from being just a scorekeeper to actually doing strategic decisions and investments into what may make the business more profitable in the future. You know what I mean? So it gives you a great level of confidence going forward.
Amazing. And I think that's a pretty good breakdown of how the solution elevates finance from not just being a reporting function to actually a strategic engine that's working for the business, for the leadership team, and really driving not just the finance department, which can somehow just think the software is benefiting the finance team and then the accountants that are working on it, but it's actually has a flow-on effect to the broader organization.
Absolutely.
Awesome. With that, Scott, it sort of feels like an opportune segue to actually look at the Achieve-erp solution itself and how that sort of, I guess, is used on a business in today's day and age.
Yep.
I will now hand over to Asla, our Head of Product and Implementation here at Achieve-erp, to take us through the demo.
Thank you, John. Now I will kickstart the demonstration. What you are looking right now is the Achieve-erp dashboard screen. The dashboard can also be customized based on different user personas. For example, if it's a CFO, how a CFO would like to see his dashboard, we can configure. A finance manager, how he would like to see his dashboard, we can configure. And depending on different user personas, we can have the dashboard configured. We can also filter the dashboard based on the financial years, and you can also filter based on quarterly or even monthly. So based on the selection, your whole dashboard values will get filtered accordingly. Now, if you would like to see the details of the revenue, you can simply click the revenue number and that will open up to the details of the transactions. So from here, if you also would like to understand further a detailed of a particular revenue line item, you can simply click that value and that will open up to the general ledger. And from the general ledger, you can also further drill down to the lowest source document, and you can preview the lowest source document, which is the sales invoice with all its information. And if there is any attachments, you can see those attachments as well, and you can see the creator, the confirmed user, and who has approved and when it was also approved. So all the way from the dashboard, you can simply navigate and have all these information. And top of this, you can also download all of this into a PDF or Excel for further analysis as well. So similarly, the expense, the gross profit, the net profit, you can all see those information in one single window over here. And the dashboard also would give you a customized to-do list. So what are the actions you would want to perform on a particular day? You can see a highlight of that. And you can also see the dashboard integrated with your Office email meeting calendar. Every meeting request that has been sent to you will also be viewed here as well. And you can also see the informations of the newsfeed, which we can connect it through an API through using an external website, or you can have it configured within your internal process as well. You can also see the details of the revenue, the expense, and the profit analysis on a month-on-month basis. You can see it on a graph here, and if you would want to understand the details, you can simply click the number and that will open up the details of the transaction on a month-on-month basis as well for your further analysis. These reports also can be downloadable to PDF and Excel. You can also see the details of the revenue by GL code, which would be based on your target, which is your budget, and compared with your actual, and will give you the details of the variance as well in one single preview. You can also see similarly the revenue by segment with your actuals, your target, and the variance as well. And you can also see the income versus expense movement on a particular month-on-month basis. You can also see the outstanding payables with its aging brackets. You can simply click the bracket and that will open up the details of the transaction over here. You can also see the expenses by category. What are the expenses you have incurred over the period of time? And you can see your top revenue generating service items as well. For example, compliance review is giving you the highest number of revenue, which is USD 291,000. So similarly, you can have those analysis as well. And in the dashboard also, you can see the current cash or the bank balance as well. So all your bank accounts will be loaded here, will be visualized with its respective bank balances. You can also see the purchases versus the tax details and the sales and its responsive tax details. You can click that and you can see the details of your statements as well. And you can see the tax types versus your values. You can see those informations as well over here. And you can also see another widget with your revenue versus budget. Your total revenue on each given month compared to your budget, how the movement is, and similarly your expenses versus your budget as well.
That was All right, Scott, we've talked a little bit about the features and benefits of Achieve-erp, but I know a lot of CFOs and finance managers have concerns about implementation, how they actually move from manual spreadsheets to a digital system, such as what we've just seen. How long does it take to implement a finance management within Achieve-erp?
Well, that's always the first question anyone asks, really, because everyone sees the benefit of the tool. So they really want to know how long it takes so they can get their hands on it and actually run the tool. You know what I mean? So Achieve-erp, we can implement the finance management module within 2 weeks. That's including setup, configuration, data migration, user training, UAT, and the go live support. So which is a really short time frame.
Yeah, it's rapid in terms of, I guess, market go live. And I guess what makes this process go so smoothly?
Oh, well, a few things. One is it's a very structured process. So Achieve-erp is able to understand the pain points, and then we can prioritize the essential financial models that need to be implemented. You know what I mean? So it's all about structure.
Amazing. And I imagine just because you bought a new shiny toy, business as usual doesn't just stop. So I guess the question is, how disruptive is an implementation to day-to-day operations of a finance department or a technology department?
It's not very disruptive at all, because a finance team will continue to use their existing systems up until that the go live date. So the implementation team does all the heavy lifting, such as the data mapping, configuration, testing, and all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. So finance team just operates in its normal process, and then in 2 weeks they flip over and we go live with a new, better tool.
Fantastic. And I guess before all of that even happens, half the battle is actually trying or half the battle of introducing a new software in general, whether it's a finance tool or not, is actually understanding what the ROI and the benefits of a solution is. I guess, what are the immediate benefits an organization can see after going live with a new solution?
Well, the greatest benefit is there's one single source of truth. You know what I mean? There's one set of numbers. Which gives a lot of confidence to the CEO, the CFO, and shareholders and all stakeholders, because without one set of truth, you don't really know what the playing field is, and you don't have stable ground under your feet. So that's the greatest benefit. But the other significant benefits is that you get real-time visibility into the business's financial performance. You know what I mean? So at any moment, any time, you know where you are from a business perspective. So the reduced time to close end of month is significant, because you can actually implement changes based on the last month quicker, and you've got a better understanding. So you don't have to wait for a week into the next month to actually find out what the results were for the last month. So you've lost, from a business perspective, you haven't lost time. You know what I mean? You can change things. As I said, the confidence in the numbers is the most critical component. You know what I mean? And you also, from a philosophical perspective, the finance team changes from just reporting to actually being reactive to actually being proactive. You know what I mean? You can actually identify areas that you need to improve, and where you can actually create value for the business.
I couldn't agree more. So it sounded like when you eliminate manual consolidation and switch to real-time data, the finance team can finally focus on analysis, strategy, forward thinking, the actual job that they're paid for, rather than the administrative work chasing documents that a lot of the time happens before you start to look at a tool.
Absolutely.
Amazing, Scott. Well, with all that, we're now at time, so we'll move on to some questions. Now, I've been watching the chat, and I can see quite a few questions have rolled in, a lot on the reporting, which is typically the way. The dashboards tend to draw some eyes. So question one I can see here, how does the ERP system improve reporting accuracy? So Achieve-erp, as Scott outlined, provides a single source of truth. So every department is working from the same data. So there's no discrepancy between what sales sees, for example, to what finance sees, to what operations sees. all of the data is the same and in real time. In essence, the system essentially eliminates manual data entry and transfers between different systems, which is where most errors can creep in. Ultimately, your data is flowing from source directly to report. The system also enforces data validation rules at the point of entry. So we're minimizing mistakes that could be made because they're getting caught immediately rather than appearing weeks later in a report and you're having to spend time to go back and cross-reference. Another question I can see, can reports be customized to meet specific business needs? In my experience, this is almost the most common question we get. Simple answer is absolutely. So the system, it really is designed to be tailored to each business that uses the system. Every business has unique reporting requirements. And the answer is it really is an implementation requirement. So as you're sitting down with our implementation teams, you're actually understanding and we're understanding what your business requirements are and the reports that you need on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis. We can start to obviously configure and teach you how to configure those when you're using the solution also. We do provide a comprehensive set of standard out-of-the-box reports that are best practice and are used and adopted by a lot of our clients. If you do have unique requirements, we can set those up. How does ERP reporting support decision-making for the CFO? So we definitely covered this section off, but just to recap, real-time dashboards ultimately means CFOs always know where the business stands today, not where it was 3 weeks ago. The drill down capabilities that we were talking about let leaders, so CFOs, in response to your question, investigate issues on the spot. If they encounter unexpected variance in a board meeting, for example, they can investigate that immediately and get answers right away. A lot of our dashboards, although they're obviously used to generate reports in preparing for meetings, but they're also often used directly in a monthly managers meeting or in one of your ELT meetings. So all of this information can be interrogated in real time. Again, all of our dashboards, all of our reporting is trying to shift the mindset and the activity of a CFO from reactive to proactive. We've probably got time for one more question here. What about integration with other systems, with the other systems that we already use? It's a really good question. Achieve-erp, we can essentially integrate with any third-party solution that you're currently using. We are really designed to add value to your currently technology stack, to not go in and disrupt. So we can use purpose-built APIs to automate data transfer, or we can also establish Excel uploads or imports or exports, if that's the preference as well. It's really up to you to determine what system we integrate with and to what frequency that data is automated. Do you want it in real time? Do you just want that uploaded once a week or once a month? Completely up to you. What we often do is also push data out of the tool. So obviously we've got those great interactive dashboards that we saw today. Some organizations like to push data to a third-party reporting solution such as Power BI or Tableau, for example. We've done those integrations many times. So we're more than happy to help not only import data into the system, but export data as well. Awesome. If there is more questions, please feel free to send these through. We will consolidate these as part of our follow-up emails post-session today. Lastly, we just want to thank everyone for your attendance. With respect to next steps, as I indicated, we'll send a quick follow-up email consolidating any additional questions and responses for those. If you are interested in a more in-depth demonstration, we're more than happy to get that scheduled in. You can see my email on the screen and my contact mobile number. More than happy to get that arranged at any time. We'll also send the recording a link to the recording so you can rewatch this as required. But again, do please feel free to reach out. Any additional resources that might help, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to get those together for you. Again, thanks everyone for joining today. We'll speak with you soon.